here, Marcia.
Yeah, Marcia.
Marcia in Angier, North Carolina. The type is a little bit smaller here. I'm doing this remote, and I'm looking at a smaller screen than I'm used to.
Okay.
So what's up?
So I have an idea of how we might be able to move, at least some of us, towards single payer.
Mm-hmm.
It involves a petition, so you guys, it'll be on Tom's Facebook page when I'm finished. But you saw how those folks that had gotten those cancellation letters over plans that probably weren't any good anyway, they all came screaming, "You promised us, you promised us, you promised us." Mm-hmm. And then from that, they caused the president to actually break his own law. And so I'm thinking all of us in these red states that were supposed to get Medicaid and our states that haven't taken the money, we need to scream, "You promised us, you promised us, you promised us," and force him to create a federal exchange for us in the Medicare system. Take that money that he was going to give to the states and make us eligible, carve out a bracket. People who are in these red states who have the income right can get Medicare. And that's 36 states worth of people.
Yeah.
I think
these are the states that basically got screwed by the Supreme Court and by the Republican governors or legislatures. The problem, Marcia, and I realize I sound incredibly cynical saying this, but the problem is that you're talking about, let me set this up properly. The people who had health insurance plans and did not qualify for government subsidies were typically people making over $60,000 a year, more than 400% of poverty, no government subsidy, and they were buying health insurance, and their health insurance rates might go up, or they liked their policy and it's going to change now and whatever, that kind of thing. And so those were the people that the media was talking about, because the media really cares about those people because they're consumers. They buy a lot of product, and that, the advertisers are interested in that, and the media is all about making a profit. And especially the television media. All the radio stations are too, but I think their audience is broader, frankly. And so and also that's the market, the upper middle class and people above the upper middle class. That's the Republicans, right? That's who they're catering to. So of course that outrage had to be responded to. You're talking about people who are making under $20,000, under $25,000 a year, and more than whatever the minimum is in your state, and it's as low as $1,800 a year, I think, in Louisiana. I don't know what it is in North Carolina. Couple $1,000s a year, who fall into that donut hole where they make too much to qualify for Medicaid and not enough to frankly be able to buy a health insurance plan and get a subsidy on the exchange. And those are referred to in political circles as, quote, poor people. And politicians don't give a damn about them, and neither does the press. And that, it's a crime in America that's a reality. But I agree with you. It would be wonderful if people.
Well, we should try at least. We have a WhiteHouse.gov petition. We need 100,000 at least, and we need to just keep screaming, "You promised us! You promised us! You promised us!"
Yeah.
And maybe he can say, "Well, hey, I promised them too." So. It wasn't as if he needed anybody's permission to make the change that he did. Mm-hmm. So as long as we don't pass a bill that takes that power from him in this bill, he can still make changes in his bill.
I wonder if it would be possible. See, I think that the Medicare rules are so nailed down and buttoned up after all these years that probably he can't do it. But if administratively he could make people who aren't eligible for Medicaid eligible for Medicare, boy, would that be a huge step toward single payer.
My question is, is that money already in a pile, or was it something that they were just gonna pay for as they needed?
No, the money was appropriated by Congress.
So then it can be put into the Medicare system and call it a different name. They will administer it, but it won't really be Medicare. You know, you got to.
No, I understand. I think it would require an act of Congress, because the president can only move money within an existing program. He has to follow the intent of Congress. Congress appropriated that money for Medicaid and said to the states, here it is, take it if you want it. If you don't want it, then, don't take it. Based on the Supreme Court decision. Originally, it was here it is, you've got to take it. So because that's in the Medicaid program, I'm quite sure that the executive branch, the president, does not have the power to move it out of that and into the Medicare program. They're separate programs. It would require an act of Congress.
A federal exchange, just like he made a federal exchange.
There may be some way to do it. I think that you're onto something here, Marcia. And the big point is, I never thought he should have apologized. I think he should have gone on the offensive. I think, I was listening to National Public Radio this morning when I woke up in the clock radio in my hotel room here, and it comes on and one of the announcers says in a straight voice, as if he's telling the truth in the news. He says, the president apologized for lying to Americans. And I'm like, wait a minute, he didn't apologize for lying to Americans. He apologized or deceiving Americans, for however they say it on NPR. He apologized for people being frustrated by the system, and for his saying something that people misconstrued, basically, and for the system not working the way it's supposed to. But he didn't apologize for lying to people. And yet that phrase, that Republican phrase, is now being repeated. It was repeated this morning on National Public Radio, or at least on the local station here in Chicago. And I think it was the national feed. And I was just horrified by that. But this is, but Marcia, I think you've got a great idea. Let's push him to do something about the people in the 36 states where the governors of the legislatures have said, to hell with the poor people in our states. We're not going to take the federal money. You're onto it, Marcia. Thank you. You always offer brilliant insights when you call in. Thanks so much. I appreciate it, and thanks for listening to WCPT's web stream there.